How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Build. In this episode, we are going to be building ourselves a pod. Now, I just call them pods because it's a very, very small, like a minimalist build. It's like pick a seat and then try and keep everything like within one square of that seat size, right? Try to make it as small as possible. So a good example of a pod would be like this. So like this is the first pod I tried using. As you can see, it's basically just 4 of the new windshield blocks and a couple of other smaller blocks underneath around the space cockpit. Around that seat it is popping out, or you can build your pod without the seat being seen at all. It can be all within the actual build itself. So this here, again, nothing super fancy, but we got some basic controls, left and right and turning. Our thrust is provided by our wonderful space thrusters underneath. And this lets us zip around at decent speed for something this small, because we don't need a lot of thrust to be moving around this quick. But this is like, it could be an escape pod, it could be a pod just in itself. But it's basically just a super small build. With, of course, we're using our gyros in there to keep everything stable and keep us in the direction that we want to be going, seeing how we don't have any friction from any drag from any fins or horizontal stabilizers or vertical stabilizers. So we are going to build ourselves a pod, something like this. But first we got to decide what we want to use for a seat. And I want to give a special shout out to any of those players that have been playing with in some of the public servers recently. I enjoy going into the public servers to see what everyone else is up to and show off some of the new builds that I've created as well. So a special shout out to those guys. As I said, I would mention them in the next video. Names got me. Everyone's got a bizarre, strange name. So I'm just going to say, hey, you guys, yeah, you know who you are. That was me. Thanks for playing. Alright, so let's get rid of this thing. And we need to decide what seat we're going to use. What are we going to use for a mini pod? So you usually want to go with something that's got some decent connection points on it. On the front, back, and sides, as well as the bottom. Like the spaceship cockpit doesn't have a lot of connection points except on the back. This one here is kind of tall. The racing seat is actually pretty big in itself. The crow's nest, again, doesn't have a lot of connection points. The motorcycle seat is only 3 wide, so that just eliminates itself right off the bat. Alright, so let's try with the jet cockpit. So we are going to start with simple maneuverability. So we want to go to our movement tab here and we want to grab some gyros. Now we're going to use this as our steering gyro. So we are going to start by putting it, say, there. And we're going to set our strength on the steering gyro. We'll start at 3. And A and D are the proper controls. Now, also what I want to do is I'm going to copy this gyro back. I'm going to set the strength to 5, and I'm going to remove the controls. So that's going to give us some stability and rigidity as far as when we start turning. It's going to... okay, we're bouncing around on the ground. it adds some friction and drag to the actual gyro itself. So when you're turning, you don't just continue drifting in that turn. You'll stop right away. So that gyro with no controls on it is actually going to give you some resistance. All right, we're going to, let's put maybe one of these on the back, seeing as how we have 3 tall now. We don't have anything sticking out. We're going to set this to fairly weak, to like a 2 or maybe a 3. And we're still just vibing because we have our gyros actually touching the ground. So, how are we going to... Oh, I know. Let's go to our new sloped pieces. No, they're not in the slope. They're in the structural pieces. These ones here. The new windshields. So let's try and make one out of these. Let's go with like this. We'll put one like that. And one like this. I want to try and keep it centered. We'll put ones on the other side like that. So we have this like little pill shape. And now we want to look at where we have gaps that we can actually put some other blocks in. So we have our stabilization that way, and we have our turning. So that's basically all we're going to need except for thrust now. So now we have to decide where are we going to put our thrust. So let's get a... thrusters up top. Nope, thrusters down the bottom. Okay, space thrusters. So we're going to put one in the back. Oh no, we don't even have room. See, we got room for one up here. I can put one there. And if I try copying out the back, and then it's sticking out. So that's no good. That's no good. So we could, I guess, move this up one, seeing as how the seat is going to block that extra block height sticking up from that vertical stabilizer. So now we got 2 of those, and those are going to be on the space bar as well. So let's build that in and see if that even lifts this off the ground. Yes, it does. So see, when you turn, you just suddenly stop turning because we've got that gyro in there that is set to the same strength, if not a little stronger than what we're actually using for turning. So now at this point, we just need to make this sucker aerodynamic. And try and add a wee bit more thrust so we can get a wee bit more speed. We don't need a whole lot of control. You don't want to end up in the water because these jets do not work in the water. Alright, so we'll come back here and do a wee bit of a landing. Our little pillbox. Little pill pod. Oh, damage. Smoking. Okay, so if we want to make this a wee bit more aerodynamic, I would suggest that we go to our streamlining tab. Maybe one of these. Like that. Well, that doesn't look quite right, does it? So it looks like what we'll need to do is put a wee bit, a couple of these 2x2s in here. Like that. And like that. And if that is in the back, actually, what we'll do is get rid of these. We're going to put one of these thrusters. We've got room for one of these. But now we can't put anything on the back because we got no connection points. That's a downer. That's something we shall have to remedy, isn't it? Alright, so the best way to do that, I would say, would be to like take a shield, a flat piece like this, put it underneath, connect to there, and then we've got this piece here. So, if we chose to do so, we could find some rounded pieces. I'm gonna let's see, we've got these ones and these ones. Let's try these ones. Stand that up, give it a spin. Now, if that was up like that, it doesn't look too bad, but it's not quite as good as I was hoping. Well, if we move this forward, and this forward, and this forward, We slide those in there like that. See, now that would look a lot better. And we wouldn't need this. It's still not quite exactly the shape of this curve on the top here, but it definitely works. Okay, now the front. Okay, well, can I use these? Well, we can, I guess. And then for the top, well, we can't put anything here, and we can't put anything here, and we can't put anything there. Right, so once again, we're limited by connection points. Connection points. Oh, those connection points. Okay, well, we can put a wee bit of a slope right here. Maybe we want to go a wee bit of a rounded slope. Just to keep with the theme of the whole rounded thing. So I wish that was tucked inside. That would be much nicer. We didn't have to see that front end sticking out. Keep it all this within this form factor. Alright, see how that flies to begin with. We've got all the weight in the front now. Ooh. So that's one thing that we don't have is our... Ooh, aye. It's too heavy. It's not heavy. That's my pill pod. Alright, so we don't have enough thrust to keep that up in the air now. So I'm going to get rid of that. I don't like that. I can keep the front flat. Even though I don't like that either. But we can add a couple more boosters down here. Thrusters, sorry. And that should give us lots and lots of thrust as far as lift goes. We're still very front heavy. Very front heavy. So, to deal with that issue, what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of this thruster in the back. We're going to get rid of these curved pieces here. Don't worry, I'll find something to connect you with. And now here, we are going to go back to our servos. Gyros, like this. And we'll have this one as our forward and backwards, instead of just using the seat steering. And we'll put the strength on those to about 3. And then, again, we want to have a second one connected there with the settings. We'll say set that to 5. And then we want to remove those controls so that it just acts as a buffer, like a brake. And maybe we can actually put a couple of these up here, like this. It looks a wee bit weird. But it's better than just seeing the top like that. Alright, let's try that. That's much better. We don't lean forward so much now because we've got that gyro with no controls on it, stopping us from rolling forward. And we are picking up some drag from the front nose. It's all flat. Still doing 300 kph. It's not too bad. But if we want, let's see if we can get a little bit more speed by putting a wee bit of a slope on the front. Maybe like that. And a wee bit underneath like this. Now see, we've got some problems with drag there too. So what if we get rid of this and just replace it with another one of these. Give it a spin. Put that down like that. Okay, now we've got another gap here. So, and I love this new 4x4 piece. That's awesome. I love it when they give us bigger pieces. So that cuts down on the part count. Okay, so we've got one like that there, and that should occupy that space so there's no drag in there. That still looks a wee bit weird. What if we lowered these down? Like that. And I'm not sure if we even need these. Keep everything kind of flat. It looks a bit more compact, shall we say, all within itself. Alright, let's try flying that. See if we can get better than 300k. $70, $280, $290, $300. Yeah, she's definitely a bit faster this way. Now, if you wanted to weaponize your pod, you're probably going to have to either piston glitch a weapon or something into it, or it's going to be obvious where the weapon is. I think it'd be kind of cool to have battles, pod battle, super small builds like this. So we'll keep that as a functioning pod like that. Now, let's see what we can do to make it look cool. So we'll start by making the whole thing metallic. And we'll say maybe black metallic. So all blends in. And then, oh, maybe not a black metallic. Maybe we'll use like the pipes or the gears. Let's see what the gears look like. They're all black and we can't tell, so we'll make one color white. Wow, that looks like an old 1960s couch pattern. So we've got something like that, or maybe like that, or like this, the glowing. Black and white, except we'll go with like the black and orange, or like orange and blood red, dark blue maybe, or grey, or black. Maybe we don't want to use the neon. Maybe we want to go with, nope, plates don't look right. Rust makes it just look rusty. Geometric patterns aren't symmetrical, so that just looks weird. The digital camouflage, same thing. Graffiti. Again, not symmetrical, so it looks like somebody just hand-bombed this with a spray can. I like the pipes. Pipes are good to make the pipes nice and shiny silver like that. And then make your background whatever color you want. I usually go with something dark like the black, it makes it stand out. Or maybe we can go with like bright green, make it alienish. And then once we've got something like that, we're not going to be able to use mirror mode to put a stencil on it, a decal. So what we'll do is we'll do these two and we'll just swap them out to the other side. Now, do we want a glowing or a pattern or a... Let's see what we got for glowing. Can we get a maybe a nice big circle on there? Something that when we make it larger, like we'll bring that up to 4, you know, we'll bring that up to like 7. Oh, that's a wee bit too big, isn't it? 6. And you kind of really see it. You kind of see it unless they're using something a wee bit. Oh, that's a bit more spaceship alien-y looking, identifiable. Looks like a big eyeball. Ooh, what about big eyeball, hey? Put a big eyeball in there. What about a big green one like this? Ooh, oh, that's a wee bit big, isn't it? Make it down to 4. Maybe we do one of these and we flip it so it's facing forward. We'll make it a bit smaller. We can see the whole thing. Look at that. Hey, that fits nice on there. And it's even got the green eye. And maybe we'll make it a brighter green, or maybe like a yellow. The red eye. No, a bit of an orange maybe. Did look good with the green though, eh? Looks like it very much fits in. So let's try it like that. We'll say yay. We've got the big eye on there now. And then we'll get rid of these. Copy these ones over to this side. Now we got 2 eyes. Oh, look at that, eh? Let's have a look and see how that looks flying around. And again, for the speed of your rotation, or if you want to be able to turn like this really quick, just increase the strength of your turning servo. But don't forget to increase the speed of your drag servo as well. Right, it's a wee bit of a scary looking thing to be coming at you, eh? big eyeballs on it like that. I think that looks pretty cool. If you wanted to as well, we could add one more thruster on there. On the very back, we've got a flat surface, so we can throw, I mean, if we wanted to, we could put 2 on there. And that's going to give you some more forward motion. Let's try that. Let's put a wee bit more thrust. Like this. Copy it out. Turn it up. So you can put one like that. Or you can put one up and then one underneath it. And then you'd have to go with something sloped back here to get rid of the drag off of that. Like that. And we don't want to use that one when we've got one right here. It's already got the right color and pattern and texture and all that good stuff right there. So something like that looks like a wee tiny little spaceship. So let's try that. So now we've got enough lift. And that's good because those 2 thrusters are going to help counter the weight of the cockpit being at the front. And we are definitely doing better than 300 now. We're up to 400. A little bit of a tip. You find that right angle. 430. Don't go in the water. It is not aquatic. And again, you just want to tap your space bar or whatever it is that you're using for your thrust button. If you want to hover in place. So there we go. We have a mini alien pod. For those pod people. Woohoo! It's great for stuff like that. Oh, that was close. Wasn't that close? That was really close. And because it's so small, it's actually hard to hit as well. If you're dogfighting with other folks. It's a very small target. Ooh, a wee bit of smoking time. So there we go. A little tiny pod that you can build yourself. Again, pick a different seat and basically use the same premise, the same principles to try and keep everything as small as possible. No wings or drag created by any of the flying parts or wing parts or anything like that. A couple of servos, a seat, decorate it, and there you go. You get yourself a mini pod. And that's all I got for you in this video, guys. Go on and make yourself a pod. Choose a seat. See if you can weaponize them. And have some dogfights, some pod fights. And they're not made by Tide, so that's alright. We can call them pods. It's all groovy. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Click that notification bell. You'll find out when the next video comes out. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.